Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled among the snowy hills, there lived a small, fluffy bunny named Flopsy. Flopsy was not just any ordinary bunny. He had the softest, silkiest white fur that sparkled like fresh snow under the February sun, and his eyes were the color of the clearest winter sky. February in the village was a magical month. The days were short, the nights were long, and the air was filled with the promise of new beginnings. This year, February had brought an unusually heavy snowfall, blanketing everything in a thick layer of white, creating a playground for all the forest animals. But for Flopsy, February was special for another reason. It was the month of love, and he was on a mission. Flopsy had a little crush on another bunny named Daisy, who lived in the burrow just across the frozen creek. Daisy was known for her kindness and her love for the vibrant red berries that dotted the winter landscape. Flopsy remembered the first time he saw Daisy. It was a chilly February morning when he had ventured out for some fresh clover, and there she was, her fur glowing like the morning sun on fresh snow. He couldn't help but admire the way she moved. So graceful, so gentle with the world around her. Her laugh was like the melody of the winter breeze, and her eyes sparkled with a warmth that seemed to melt the very frost around them. Flopsy often thought about how she had this light about her, a kindness that made his heart feel lighter, and a love for those red berries that he found so endearing. He loved how she would share them with the smaller creatures, ensuring everyone had a taste of sweetness in the cold winter. Flopsy decided that this year he would win Daisy's heart with the most romantic gesture he could think of. As the days passed, Flopsy set out each morning with determination, gathering every red berry he could find. He had to be careful, as the hungry birds and sly foxes were always on the lookout for the same delicious treats. One morning, as he was sneaking through the brambles, he heard a rustle above him. A cheeky sparrow named Chirp perched on a branch, eyeing the berries in Flopsy's basket. "Hey Flopsy, what you got there? Those berries look tasty," Chirp chirped, his voice full of mischief. Flopsy, clutching his basket tighter, replied, "These are for someone special, Chirp. I need every single one." Chirp fluttered down. "Oh, come on. Just one won't hurt." But Flopsy shook his head. "Sorry, but I can't spare any. Daisy loves these berries." Just as Chirp was about to swoop down for a berry, a fox named Sly appeared from behind a snow-covered bush. With a cunning grin, he said, "Well, if it isn't Flopsy with his little treasure. How about sharing with a friend?" Flopsy's ears twitched in alarm. "I'm sorry, Sly, but these are for Daisy. Maybe another time?" Sly chuckled, his eyes gleaming. "Oh, Flopsy, you know there's always a right now for foxes." Flopsy, quick on his paws, darted away, weaving through the underbrush, his heart racing. He managed to lose Sly, but not before the fox's tail brushed against the basket, causing a few berries to tumble out. Flopsy paused to collect them, his breath visible in the cold air. "Careful, Flopsy," whispered a friendly mole named Diggs from his hole in the ground. "The forest has ears, and everyone wants those berries." "I know, Diggs, but I must do this for Daisy," Flopsy said, his voice determined. Diggs nodded. "Then you'll need a little help. Follow me." Diggs led Flopsy to a patch of berries hidden by a snow-covered log. "Here, take these. They're a bit out of sight, so less chance of being spotted." With each berry added to his collection, Flopsy thought of Daisy, imagining her smile. On the eve of Valentine's Day, the air was crisp and the stars shone brightly, casting a gentle glow over the snow. Flopsy decided it was time. With a basket full of love and a heart full of hope, he set out under the moonlit path to Daisy's burrow. He ventured out with his precious cargo, wrapped in a scarf made from the softest wool he could find. Flopsy's mind was racing with thoughts of secrecy and stealth. "Must be quiet," he reminded himself, his eyes scanning the moonlit path for any signs of the nocturnal creatures that might spoil his surprise. He hopped through the snow, his breath visible in the cold air, each step deliberate and silent. The quietest bunny in the village tonight, he thought, amused by his own determination. Every crunch of snow seemed too loud in the stillness of the night, and he imagined the owls and foxes listening intently. "They mustn't know," he whispered to himself, his ears alert for any sound that might signal danger. With each hop, he felt the weight of the berries in his basket, a symbol of his affection for Daisy, and he was determined not to let anything disrupt his plan. Finally, he reached Daisy's burrow, his heart pounding not just from the journey, but from the thrill of the moment. There, under the light of the full moon, which bathed the world in a silver glow, Flopsy carefully unwrapped his scarf. He began to arrange the berries into a heart shape right at the entrance, his movements meticulous. Perfect. Just like Daisy, he thought. his paws trembling slightly with excitement and the cold. He paused occasionally, listening for any sounds of movement, ensuring he remained unseen. As he placed the last berry, he stepped back, admiring his work. The heart of red stood out against the white snow, a silent declaration of his feelings. "I hope she loves it," he whispered to the night, his breath forming a small cloud before dissipating into the chill air. With a satisfied smile, Flopsy knew he had done his best to make this Valentine special, all while keeping his secret mission as silent as the winter night. The morning of Valentine's Day, Daisy awoke to the soft light of dawn filtering through her burrow. She stretched lazily, her nose twitching at the unusual scent of something sweet in the air. As she hopped to the entrance, her eyes widened in delight at the sight of a heart-shaped arrangement of red berries against the snow. Her heart fluttered with joy, a warmth spreading through her that had nothing to do with the sun's first rays. Who could have done this? She wondered, her curiosity piqued. She noticed the delicate tracks in the snow leading away from her burrow. Could this be someone's idea of a Valentine's surprise? She mused, her mind racing through the possibilities. She decided to follow the trail, each step filled with anticipation and wonder. Where could this path be leading me? She thought, noting how the tracks were careful and deliberate, as if the maker was trying to be stealthy. As she followed, she imagined various scenarios. Maybe it's Mr. Badger, he's always so kind, she considered, only to shake her head. No, these tracks are too small. Her heart skipped a beat with the thought that perhaps it was Flopsy. Could it really be him? She pondered, a small smile creeping onto her face as she recalled their recent interactions, how he'd always seemed so attentive and sweet. She continued to follow the tracks, her mind filled with the quiet joy of discovery. This feels like an adventure, a mystery just for me, she thought, her paws moving lightly over the snow, careful not to disturb the trail. Each step brought her closer to what felt like the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with love and surprises. Finally, the tracks led her to Flopsy's burrow. There, she found Flopsy, nervously waiting, his ears twitching with anticipation. Her heart swelled with emotion as she saw him, the realization dawning on her. It was him, she thought, her eyes meeting his, filled with gratitude and an unspoken question. Flopsy's anxious expression and the way he stood, almost as if he were holding his breath, confirmed everything she'd hoped for in her heart. "Flopsy, did you do this?" Daisy asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Flopsy nodded, his heart racing. I thought you might like something to brighten up this cold February." Daisy's smile was as warm as the sun on a spring day. "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," she said. And in that moment, they both knew this was the beginning of something special. Throughout the rest of February, Flopsy and Daisy spent their days together, playing in the snow, sharing the berries, and enjoying each other's company. The village whispered about the love that had blossomed between them, making the cold, beautiful month of February even more magical with the warmth of their affection. And so, every year, as February rolled around with its icy breath and the promise of spring, the villagers would remember the tale of Flopsy and Daisy, the bunnies whose love had turned the coldest month into one of the warmest, filled with love and the magic of new beginnings.